or you're doing a commercial gig or something like that, and you just let go and go do whatever you got to do with your drone, or somebody wants you to sign an autograph or whatever. You're fine. Your hands free.
Autograph.
Hold on, let me get that out of here.
You just let go and go do whatever you got to do.
Oh, it looks like we're live now. Okay.
Oh, I see a live light. Uh-oh.
Yep, I figured I would just throw that in there since we were all going spontaneous and everything. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Season 2, Episode 19 of Drone Therapy, the Bucketlist Boys, with myself and Bill, the drone reviewer. Ron, we're hoping might make a surprise entrance here in a little bit as he's on vacation still in Florida. And tonight's subject is the Drone Owners Network, an up-and-coming show here on YouTube, and it just so happens that we're close. I live really close to one of the members, and Ron lives really close to another one. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Bill and let him give an idea of what he's wanting to talk about tonight and maybe some more segues into the guys. Bill?
Well, I'm looking forward to tonight, Bill. Thanks for your wonderful greeting. Well, Ron and I recently, Ron was vacationing here in Florida, and he and I got together over the weekend and got to meet his wife, got to go for dinner, but more importantly, got to fly our drones. So I want to talk a little bit about that and the unbelievable sunset that we got. I want to also talk a little bit about the X Dynamics Evolve, because I know there's been some reviews on it, and I saw most recently Captain Drone Steve from Canada. He did a real good review on that today, and also wanted to talk about kind of the resurgence of not only Anafi, the Parrot announced the Anafi Thermal, but they did a firmware update for the Anafi, and it's really getting to be a very interesting little bird. So I'll probably want to look at talking about those tonight.
Well, that sounds great. And with that being said, since we're here with the guys from Drone Owners Network, I would like to go around and let them introduce themselves. So we'll just let them fight amongst themselves and see who wants to talk first.
Well, Tommy, I think you should go first.
Me? Okay. Yeah. Well,
you just got your microphone fixed.
I'll go first. That's true. This is true. So now it's everything working good. It's working good. No sound. Anyway, I'm Tommy Polo with the Drone Owners Network. I do the news segment on the show. I don't know how in depth are we getting here? You want my whole history, my social, and my address, and all.
Kind of like were you? Because remember, I know that you started in FPV and then you kind of moved into camera drones, and share that with some of our folks.
All right. Well, this was a couple of years ago, about, I don't know, maybe 2016, something like that. I was flipping through some sale ads, and I seen these little toy drones in Toys R Us and this kind of thing. I said, "Wow, man, you know what? I want to try one of those." So I think I tried like a sharper image drone. It was a little plasticky kind of thing. I bumped it off the walls in the house a bunch of times. Then I get on YouTube and I start looking around, and then I see a Rotor Riot video, and it was, if anybody knows anybody with FPV, Chad Nowak was with them at the time, and this video blew my mind. It was the first person view. It was his GoPro on his thing, and this thing's speeding all over the place, and it was like, oh, what is this? I have to do this. So I went and I took, I talked to the wife and begged and this and that, and got the money together. And I think the first thing I got was one of the Asheen Wizards. And I took that thing out and I abused the hell out of it. I beat it. I broke it. I eventually smashed it into a couple pieces on a steel pole while I was trying to dive under a gap and being a cool guy. But so that led me to building a couple of my own. I got a couple back here, the custom builds. I got a remix, and then I got one that was a custom from a custom guy from Britain that he made on his own. And I really like the look of the frame, so I went with that, and I love it. Then after that, I got curious with the camera drones and the Phantoms, and I figured, hey man, if these things, people can make money with these things, I want to jump in with that too. So I went out and I got the 107 license, got a Phantom 4 Pro version 2, and that's about leads me up to right about now.
Oh well, that's you got a version 2 and Bill's got a version 2. Y'all gonna get over in the corner in a little while and have a powwow, I have a feeling.
There we go. Good. He can tell me something about it.
Who's up next, Curtis?
Randy, you want to go next?
Sure, why not? So professionally, I I do audio field production for one of the major networks here in the U.S., and so that's my usual gig. And then when 2013 rolled around and the Phantom 1 came out, it was just kind of a neat way to be able to put a camera in the air, and so that's what I got into. My previous flight experience was flying RC helicopters, and when the Phantom 1 came out, or the Phantom as they called it back then because there was nothing else, came out, it was like, wow, that's a really slick way to be able to throw a GoPro up in the air. And so that's where it all started, and yeah, just kind of progressed from there. And I went Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 3, Phantom 4, Mavic Pro, Mavic 2 Pro, Inspire 1 Pro, regular Inspire Pro. So here we are. So that's pretty much my little flying history.
Super cool. And last but not least, the infamous Curtis Dart.
Well, we got to get some shout outs here to some people in the groups. I mean, we got some chat going on. Floyd Motes is over here, Asgard Studios, Artco Drone Solutions, David Ma. Let's see, Tim Dowell. There's some great guys in here. Thank you guys for joining us today. That's pretty awesome. Let's see who else. Birdman 316 awesome. RC, Dennis Lovelady, Idaho Quadcopter, Tim Dowell. Man, there's a lot of great guys here tonight. This is awesome. Okay, so my history with drones. Much like Randy, I started out in 2013. I saw a video. Maybe I should back up just a little bit. No, that's too much information. I saw this video on YouTube, and it was a guy that was in China, or could have been Shanghai, or it could have been Hong Kong or something. It was in the city, but it was like in the outskirts of the city. So the buildings are like maybe 3 stories tall. And he put something on the ground. He had a GoPro on his head, and it took off. And then he started showing, in the edited version, he started showing the view from the helicopter, the little drone. Started going up in the air, and he was flying up over the buildings. He didn't fly far, just 2 or 3 stories up. He flew about a block away and a block back, and that was the whole video. And I was just kind of blown away. So I started doing some more searching on YouTube, and I found another guy that was doing another video where he was on a river, but there was an arched walkway bridge. And he took off from the bridge and then kind of flew down the river, maybe half a block, and then back over the bridge, and then back to the bridge, and then landed. And I thought, that has got to be the coolest thing ever. So I called a friend of mine, and he says, yeah, that's a Phantom. You got to check that out. So I found out where to order it. I got it ordered from China, and I was like thinking, this is the worst thing I've ever done. Ordered something from China, but it came. It was in a great, it wasn't smashed up or anything. It was a nice presentation in opening the box and all that. I took it out, flew it, never had a problem with it, and I've just kind of been addicted ever since. And like Randy, I did the Phantom, the original Phantom. It wasn't called the Phantom 1, but now we need to establish that it's a 1 so that everybody knows it was the first one. I did the Phantom 1. I did the Phantom 2 with the Zenmuse H3, all that fun stuff. I kind of skipped the Vision stuff. The cameras on those weren't quite up to par. Jumped in on the Inspire, got myself an Inspire, skipped the Phantom 3, got the Phantom 4, got the Mavic and the Mavic Pro. I skipped the Inspire 2 for the strangest of reasons. I was going to get it, and then it was just that 2 battery thing. And I realized there's a certain redundancy with 2 batteries, but to me, all it was saying was, well, it's going to take twice as long to charge to go out and fly as much as you're flying with 1 battery. I'm one of the lucky guys. I have never had a problem with any DJI drone. I know there are tons and tons of horror stories. I've had 1 crash at the very, very beginning, and it was me doing it. It was the original Phantom, and I was like 3 feet off the ground, just going back and forth. And I quickly learned that altitude is your friend. Get up in the air, and you won't have any problems. Never crashed since then. So that's been my kind of history with it. I mean, there's more to it than that, but that's kind of like barreled down to.
You may have just jinxed yourself. I hope you don't fly tomorrow.
Oh, I fly all the time. And you're right. I may have jinxed myself. If I did, so be it.
You know what they say? It's not if, it's when.
Right.
That'll make Saturday's show better.
Yeah, exactly. That'll give you, because you'll have the footage and everything, and you'll have one of your unique edits. You'll probably throw some graphics into it to really, accentuate the whole thing. It would be.
And as soon as I put that online, it'll get 1 million views. I've thought about just crashing one,
but use mine.
Just
call you can have it. Call yours. That's fine.
Yeah, just crash. I thought if I just crash one and say, "Hey, I crashed my drone," I'll get 1 million views on that video. It's just the way it works. It's a thing.
That's something else too that I have noticed lately that there's people that are just like you were talking about. I've never had a single issue with any DJI drone I've ever owned. I've got a little Cheerson drone. I've never had it. There's a lot of drones I've never had issues with. But just saying, people are always saying, well, you're talking so much about DJI this and DJI that, and we really need competition. And I'm like, well, okay, but we need real competition. We don't need somebody that's almost as good, you know, and then we don't need to just hold them up because they're almost as good. I'm like, they got to knock them off in order for it to be true competition.
I will 100% agree with you. And, you know, I was on board when the Solo came out. I was talking to those folks. I was on board when Autel came out with theirs. I went out and met those guys are up here, as you well know, Bill.
Yeah.
I went out to the headquarters out there. I met with them. I got to fly the drone. I got on board with everybody, but still, when it comes down to the specs, nobody's putting a bird in the air quite like DJI does. And it's kind of hard to beat. I mean, I went out and bought just to be totally different. I mean, I got myself a little race quad, which I'm not comparing to it, but I went out and bought that. And then I went out and bought a Parrot Disco wing, and just to kind of see what kind of camera that does. And the footage lets me down. I mean, it's fun to fly, and I've put some videos online and stuff, but I'm not real excited about the footage. So, there is that. So yeah, for somebody else to come out with a viable drone, they're going to have to come out with something that at least matches what DJI does, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And this just like there was the lawn guy was talking in your chat last night, Bill. And he was talking about, he says, it's not right to prop up a company that's almost as good, because they're not gonna surpass DJI. The whole point is we want them to compete and get new tech, cheaper tech for us. And if they're not passing them up, then they're not going to try. They're just going to keep flicking them off like flies.
You're right, and I think one of the problems here with I mean I'm not going to knock Autel, because Autel was my very first drone. I had the X-Star Premium, and one of the things I've always said about Autel, and it holds true to this day, is their hardware is their strong point. They build great drones. Physically, they are well built drones. However, their software is their Achilles heel, and I've been saying that because I went through the pain points of firmware updates on the X-Star Premium weren't measured in days or weeks, but months. And when you have owners that are having horizon tilt issues and props in the shot issues because of firmware not being updated, I mean, you need to focus on that. Well, they have stepped up and they are paying attention to this now, but okay. I'll fast forward to January this year over at CES. They didn't have anything to show. All they had to show was, well, we're going to have these accessories and they're going to be out. Well, I saw as of today, they still don't have these accessories out, and they talked about them there. So, while, they're not the behemoth that DJI is, they kind of need to step up to the plate. When they show something and present something, they need to be able to back it up and say, you can order it on our website on this date, period.
We got some new people in the chat. I see Kevin came in. I know he's a long ways away. I see Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger, came in. Hugh came in. The QC guy was in here from earlier. Oh, I meant to tell you, Tommy, Birdman, noticed your Tyrannus in the background. He's a big racer like you too. He gave a shout out on that one. And since
I know that name.
Since we're talking about competition, and Bill brought this up earlier, what do you all think of the X Dynamics Evolve?
I don't want to hog this, but I have an opinion. But in case Randy or Tommy want to jump in, or Bill.
I haven't even seen it. I'd have to look it up in order to speak about it.
Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, eat it up.
So it is a well-designed drone. It is a bit loud from the stuff that I have heard online. I've heard other reviewers talking about. I've not flown it, so I can't really give you an honest opinion about it. But I hear the reviewers making excuses again, and it's going to be just for the price. It's just as good as this. It needs to nail it. It's an all carbon fiber body. It is really, really loud. And that's one of the things that DJI, if you guys, this is going to come up with a conversation I know we're going to have here in a bit about future drones that DJI is possibly going to be releasing. But DJI is working towards getting smaller, smaller, and smaller, and quieter, quieter, quieter. The big complaint everybody had in the past was, oh, it's so loud. It's like, these buzzing hornets flying over my house. And if I'm really upset about this, so if they can make these things quieter, that's a really good thing. And DJI has kind of heard that. The Evolve, from what I understand, is a very loud drone. The camera doesn't quite make up the specs to any of the DJI drones. Well, maybe the Mavic. I'd have to go back and look exactly what the specs were. I kind of read over it, but I did watch a couple reviews on it, and it's the guys seem to be kind of making a little bit of excuses for it right off the bat. They want to like it, and I applaud them for wanting to like it, but at the same time, you can't make an excuse right off the bat. You have to say, this is better than because, and then people will start listing. So that's just my takeaway on it. Again, I have not flown it. I've looked at it. I've been to the website and checked out the specs on it, and I thought, and then just the, it's cool the way the arms are up in the air and they're out of the way. But again, it becomes a big drone versus a foldable drone that has that's portable and can get a better image. And I'm talking about the Mavic 2 Pro. You can compare it to the Mavic Pro, but at this point, who's going to buy a Mavic Pro? If you want a good image, you're going to buy the best camera you can possibly afford. And when you get into that price range, you're talking about a Mavic Pro. Just my opinion again.
Curtis kind of nailed it here, and there are some things with that. Number one, the price point, it's $2,500, and if you're thinking about that, you can get a Mavic 2 Pro for $1,500. So there's $1,000 swing right there. And as Curtis said, the camera on the Mavic 2 Pro is better than the camera on the X Dynamic Evolve. There's things that aren't on it. There's no precision landing on it, because I watched Captain Drone Steve landing it, and it was like 3 or 4 feet off the mat. There is no obstacle avoidance on that, and I know a lot of people. That's a hotly debated issue, because while you're a professional pilot, you don't need obstacle avoidance. But you know what? There are times that you do need that. And the camera. That's a big thing. To me, the strong point of this is their remote is out of this world. It's like 22nd century kind of stuff. It's they have a Qualcomm processor in there. It's just it really it looks great. And I saw Steve go through the motions today. He was doing a lot of that. But to me, like Curtis brought up a good point. It's like if you have to talk this up, then you shouldn't have to talk these up. They should be able to speak for themselves. And while there are some nice points about it, one of the other things that I heard is it doesn't handle wind very well. Okay, now I had the Mavic 2 Pro up. We were at the shore. Probably had 20, 25 mile an hour winds. When you get up there, it was fine. The footage was pristine. With this, I've heard it doesn't handle that real well. Plus, that price point, $2,500. That's a pretty big bite to chew. And you're kind of heading towards Inspire 2 territory with that.
The camera reminds me of the X3 that was on the original Inspire. Looks like the same sensor too.
Yeah, and then they've got that new the Micro too that they didn't come out with at first. Kind of similar to somebody else advertising a 1-inch sensor and not coming out with it. So yeah, they've got, what is it? They've got an attachment where you can put a micro on it. Isn't that one of the cameras?
Well, the one I'm looking at is the CMOS sensor that's like what you would see like on the original Phantom 4 or the Inspire X3.
But right, Bill, isn't that one of the future things? The attachments, they're going to have the Micro Four Thirds on there.
Yeah, they're gonna that whole camera assembly. It kind of comes on and off. They made it so it's hot, kind of hot swappable, so to speak. And you can put another one on there. But they're talking about an upgrade for that camera already, in the camera itself being $1,000. And I'm like, wow. I'm spending $3,500. I'm getting me something called an Inspire 2. Okay.
Yeah, if you're going to put that much money down.
Yeah,
I wanted to give a quick back shout out to the chat. There's Ricky Dove, Thomas O'Sullivan, Cole Somerville. I forgot to holler at you earlier. Forget you there. I didn't mean to forget you there. Canadian Drone Hub. Glad to see you in the chat, Roger. Anybody got any more? Where do you want to go now? See, we're wide open here. More input. Bill, anything?
Yeah, let's go to and it seems to kind of be a hot topic right now. The Anafi thermal it just came out, and I've taken a pretty good look at it now. I've flown a regular Anafi, and I'll tell you what, flying that thing, it stops on a dime. It is highly maneuverable. That 180-degree swing on that camera is insane. You can fly under things and get their pictures. And now coupling that with a thermal camera, I think that's a real winner. And the runtime specs on it look good as far as in battery life. Their app is great. I was very pleased with it. And Bill and I have a friend, True Drone Reviews, Brian Singleton, who lives over in Pittsburgh, and he just took an Anafi up, and I was watching his footage from that, and they had just had a firmware update, and the footage on it was just insane. It was incredible, and you're thinking this is a 600-ish kind of drone. Now the thermal is going to go for $1,900, but the whole thing is it's a small form factor, it's easy to carry, and easy to set up, and you can hand launch. I mean, it's designed to be hand launched. I mean, literally you can throw it up in the air and it goes. There are just so many advantages to this, and especially I think that thermal camera, from what I've seen, of course, just it's images from Parrot, of course, in their videos, but from what I've seen from that thermal camera, I think it looks great. Now I actually tested the Enterprise Dual, and the weak point with the Dual, in my opinion, was the regular camera with that. The regular camera was kind of like its Achilles heel. It was okay, but I think it could have been a whole lot better, which, that helps you identify objects. And from what I see with the Anafi thermal, it looks a whole lot better.
Bill, you're muted.
Ron Brown doesn't have the bandwidth to join us tonight, but he's in chat, in spirit. Okay, so
hello, Ron.
So a couple things I wanted to bring up real quick. Since we're kind of skirting down into the $400 and $500 range before we dance into what DJI is coming out, have you all ever heard of the new FEMI foldable drone? What is it? The X8?
X8.
SE? Yeah. It's kind of like a Mavic clone, shoots 4K. Or on the other flip of that, the Hubsan Xeno, and they've been doing a lot of firmware updates too.
I'm going to be honest here. You guys are kind of lost us on this. We're specifically kind of DJI guys. I mean, we do have some other drones, but as far as following all this stuff, I mean, we kind of catch at some of the names that you've talked about. I've heard the Xeno thing only because I've been following you guys lately. But yeah, we're not really up on all the Anafis and all that. We're kind of call us DJI fanboys if you want, but that's just kind of the way we've gone. We've gone with something that works, and when it works, you don't want to step out of that thing. I've looked, trust me, I have looked, and and we've all kind of bought something else, but we've always been let down by it. So we're not going to have a lot to give you guys on that, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, we just been rolling so good. I was trying to drag it out a little bit before we just jump straight into the three new drones we suspect from DJI. Oh, hey, I got an off note. Do you all really think that there's a DJI action camera coming out at the end of April, or do you think that's bogus?
Not only no, but hell no. It's not. No, it's not coming.
I don't think so.
Well, the thing that kind of blew my mind.
Why?
Well, the thing kind of blew my mind was that they were making sure that you couldn't see any emblems or anything, and it looked almost like they were holding it together.
Well, okay, let's talk about a little bit of a history lesson, because I've worked with DJI for a long time now. I know the guys at DJI. Not only I've met the guys from China, I've met some of the USA guys. Romeo and I know each other for many years now, and I've purchased a lot of these products. And one of the classic things that DJI does is they come up with a new outstanding product, and then before they release it, they dial it back. They don't give you everything. So let's talk about like the Phantom 3. Phantom 3 comes out, they don't give you everything, and then they dial it back to the advanced and the standard, and they do the same thing with with all these other drones and stuff. So here's my take on and this is going to segue into this. As far as action cameras and stuff like that, the very first thing we saw was essentially the the sensor that was in the Mavic Pro get put into the Pocket, the Osmo Pocket. It is my firm belief, and you guys can quote me on this, and I have no reason to know why, and nobody has said anything to me officially. There is going to be an Osmo Pocket Pro, and it is going to have the 1-inch sensor, cropped and all that other fun stuff. And, you know, we're going to get into the line skipping and all that conversation there, but we are going to see an Osmo Pocket Pro, and it's right around the corner.
Ooh, that's a big
So
one.
if you're a company and you're going to come out with that, and if you think about, again, you think about the history of how DJI has done stuff and released things, you know, the Inspire was another great example. They came out with this drone with an interchangeable camera, you know. Well, they got everybody to buy the Inspire, and then they come out with the X5 camera, and it's an upgrade feature. You know, they could have come out with the X5 right off the bat. Sure, the price would have been higher, but they want to get that first sale, and then they want to get the second sale, and they want to do that. So what I see happening is we're going to be getting an Osmo Pocket Pro here pretty soon. Or it could be called 2. I have no idea. You know, what they're going to call it, I'm not really sure. But my opinion is that we're going to be seeing a new Osmo Pocket, and it's going to have a 1-inch sensor.
So like how soon? Like in the next month or two?
Like in, you know, I think it was going to be part of, you know, the April thing got canceled. I think that was part of it. For whatever reason of why they canceled it, and there's a lot of speculation about that. I think that was part of the release that was going to be coming out. And again, I have no personal information. Nobody has said anything to me. And again, I know a lot of these guys, and they never tell me anything. The only thing they really do for me is as soon as it's released, I get 3 or 4 messages with every bit of information about it. And they send it to me right away so I can pump the information out to all the groups, all the exact specs of what has just been released.
Right.
And so for them to release an action camera when I know that's right on the horizon, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Right. Okay, so since we're rolling into new products, and yes, we're right at the top of the hour, so we'll just try to see if we can draw this out for the next 30 minutes. But
I can talk for 30 minutes.
oh no, we tend to, what happens, that's why we call ourselves the Bucketlist Boys. Towards the end of the show, we kind of get into Alzheimer's mode and start reminiscing about the old days and talking about old concerts and old cars and old dates with lost girlfriends, and you never know what happens. So with that being said, we've all been talking about it. Bill's even brought it up on his show. I want to give another quick shout out. I see Rick Halber. Who else have I missed? Chris Hope. Hey, great to see you. Robert Rudder, Kevin Fortner, Ron Brown. As I said, he just didn't have the bandwidth tonight. Yeah, right, Ron. Right.
Remote pilot of Australia jumped in and said, Curtis, just because it has a Mavic 2 Pro sensor doesn't mean they have to implement the same image sampling and firmware like the M2P. That's correct. My point being is that they have plenty of these image sensors in there that they can upgrade and give us a better Pocket Pro. What they do with it, you know, is only time will tell. But it's a possibility, and it's their history and the way they've done things. Just wanted to, and thank you for the question, by the way, remote pilots of Australia, or Australia, I should say.
Yeah, that's part. I was just trying to get everybody in there, and our always loyal door greeter. I don't want to say door greeter, drone greeter, drone effects, but with Claude. He's in the house too, and he's always here chatting up the storm. I see Dennis just jumped in again. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Idaho Quadcopter, was on a couple of weeks ago. That's our Xeno expert along with Ron Brown. And let's now roll into, okay, Bill, you said 3 new drones from DJI. Okay, give us your speculation or input as to what those 3 drones are, and pass it to whom you would like to next.
All right. I was on just to let Curtis and Tommy and everybody know. I've been on Canadian Drone Hub on Saturday mornings. They kind of like ping me, and I come on, and it's usually kind of like maybe mid to late morning. And a good group of people. I know Roger's on tonight. Thank you for stopping by, Roger. Absolutely love being on their show. And they absolutely, you know, from the information that I get and from my sources and from everything that I hear, this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a Spark Pro or a Spark 2 or some type of variance of a new Spark. You know, you're gonna do 4K, 30 frames per second. Probably new ESCs, new props, increased runtime, not a whole lot more else, because the thing that I keep hearing is, they want to keep the cost level of this down. They want it because it's so popular because of the price point and the entry level price point, and it's going to look exactly the same from everything that I'm hearing regarding that. Now, the other thing that they're talking about as far as a second one is concerned is it's somewhere between a Mavic 2 Pro and also a Phantom 4. That's an unnamed drone. As far as that's concerned, what's real big right now with DJI, and it's real big with a lot of people. The concept of the folding drone has really taken off the Mavic Pro. Carried on to the Mavic 2 Pro, and hence that's why the Phantom line, as we know it, as far as the consumer side, is not going to be around anymore. But this is going to be a cross between the two. Whether it has folding landing gear or folding legs, the whole idea of this is being compact, and it's going to have capabilities of like a Phantom 4 Pro, but in probably closer to a Mavic 2 Pro size, that type of thing. And then the other thing is, and this I know is actually, I do know people that are actually going out and testing the Inspire 3. And that's going to have a smaller form factor than the Inspire 2 from what I'm hearing. Host of camera upgrades with that, host of software upgrades, obstacle avoidance, like 360. It's going to be crazy insane. And it's also going to have a crazy, insane price. So that's what I'm hearing from all my sources. I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out to everybody.
I see we've had a couple more people come in. I wanted to say hey to Perth West Aussie RC David from down in Australia to yell at us. And I see Jeanette Wilson, Horse Education. She was asking a question about if the new controller, or if the controller from the first Spark would work with the new one. We're just speculating here. We're just guessing. Does anybody have an idea of what, Curtis, what's your input on what might be coming out in the future?
Well, as far as using old hardware with new hardware, the history of DJI is no. It's not going to happen. You're going to get new batteries. You're going to get new RC. It is not going to happen. Again, I don't want to. I'm an old radio guy, so you put a mic in front of me, I'm going to talk for hours, and I don't want to hog this thing. So let me jump over to Randy here and let him kind of take my place for a second.
Well, like Curtis said, I think that when it comes to the pattern of DJI through the past, nothing seems to be compatible. Nothing. It's they love to improve, and that includes changing the shape, size, fitment of everything. So intercompatibility, I'm thinking that's going to be a huge X. I don't see that happening.
I'm going to strong agree with that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see a foldable Spark, though. You
How
take
small?
that and make it even smaller.
How small does a Spark need to be? It's like
I don't know, but I kind of agree with Bill on them coming out with either a Spark 2 or some kind of variant of the Spark, because it does seem to do well. And like people do like it mainly because I think the price and the portability, but I think it is due for an upgrade. So I would say something with that.
Those toy drones we were talking about are all attacking its price point, and they've all got 4K at 30 frames per second.
Right.
So like Bill was talking last week, I'm expecting a Spark refresh, and he was saying like Spark Plus. And that really sounds like a good name to me. It would make sense. And what they're going to do is they're going to put the new ESCs in it. They're going to put, the low noise props, make it a little more efficient, give us probably about 3 to 4 more minutes of flight time, and give us 4K at 30 frames per second. And they're going to charge us about another $200, and people are going to eat it up.
I just want to jump in here. Ari, Remote Pilots Australia, giving the Spark foldable arms will diminish one of its best characteristics, its durability. And then up further, he said, is the camera in the Spark has always been capable of 4K, but just been logged via firmware. It sounds much like the same aircraft with a faster processor. So yeah, everybody, that's one of the big secrets. A lot of people didn't know that camera was always capable of 4K that they currently have in the Spark right now.
Because you could shoot 4K pictures. Everybody knew that. I thought that's what everybody, because you could shoot 4K pictures. We all griped about it, man. That was one of my and Billy's biggest gripes.
What if they come out with a new Spark that has its own controller, like a baby DJI Smart controller.
That could be something.
But the whole point is aren't you? If you're going to do that, you're going to put some kind of light bridge tech in there, and you're going to jack the price through the roof, aren't you?
Maybe, it just depends. I've never had a Spark, so I don't see, I don't know the value of the Spark because it hasn't fit into my workflow. For other people that use it for, say, they're doing, little quick YouTube videos or Facebook Lives or whatever it may be, it may be the bee's knees for what they do. So, I'm not sure, but I don't know what it's missing because I've never had one. But they could upgrade the processor, they could upgrade the camera, or open the camera to where it can do 4K. But in the Spark, wasn't it always something where you had to fly with your phone or take some other sort of controller to operate it?
Yeah. But it's so kind of like a Mavic Air. But what we were thinking is just something a little bit cheaper than a Mavic Air with just the limited capabilities of maybe just, like I said, 4K at 30 and then 1080 at some range in there, but not anything major. What do you think, Curtis? Radio guy, say something.
I'll say something. So, Randy, you'll remember one of our brothers at Drone Owners Network Live, one of our staff, Matt L. Matthews, just did a whirlwind, and I mean whirlwind. It was like amazing trip through Europe with his family. And of all the drones that he has, he chose to take the Spark with him. It's just that portability factor. I was like, dude, why not the Mavic? What are you taking a Spark for? And he just wanted a lot of the places that he was going, he was not going to be able to fly. And it was like, he was going to okay, maybe I might take off from my hotel or something. And he never did fly like he's, someplace he shouldn't fly, but he wanted that ultimate portability. And he got some fairly good footage out of it. It was decent enough to put on YouTube and the compression that YouTube adds to the video.
He was using it also as a still camera, and that way
Yeah.
the whole family could be in the shot. He didn't have to haul a tripod around, and he
Exactly.
put the Spark in the air at, say, like 10 feet and shoot a family photo.
Yeah, he was doing that all over the place. So probably easier to launch. It's handheld and stuff. I'm kind of like you. It's not in my workflow. It's not something I would use. So I kind of agree with Bill and Ron and everybody else here that's talking about it. I think there's probably going to be an update to the Spark, and it probably needs to be. Sales for the Spark are way better than the Mavic Air, so I wouldn't be surprised for the Mavic Air to kind of maybe take a back seat for a while, and we see another an improvement to the Spark.
How about a Spark Avengers Edition?
It's been done.
It could be the Thor instead of Iron Man.
Yes, I'm addicted to drones too.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
I got one.
Nice. How's the throw and go? Do you do the throw and go?
It's just basically a Tello with the skin on it, man. You can actually use the Tello app to fly it.
So didn't it come with like some computer software or something that's like from Iron Man or something like what was the Friday deal or?
It's supposed to guide you.
It's called the Tello Hero app, and it basically has what they call our training missions, and you basically fly the drone forward 2 feet, turn it around, fly it backward 2 feet, one mission done. Next mission, fly it forward 2 feet, turn it around 360 degrees, fly another mission. And then the next time is fly forward, take a picture, fly back. Next one, 360 video, fly back, open drone.
Wow. Yeah, I remember the very first time I took my Mavic Air up, and I went like 100 feet up and 20 feet out, and I was like, "What the heck?" And it stopped. Like, what the heck? And my good buddy Corey Jacobs, I called him real quick. I go, "What's up with this thing?" He goes, "Take it out of beginner mode." I was like, "What the hell is beginner mode?" He goes, "It's something they just implemented." So I scrolled through the menu and I found beginner mode and jumped out of that. And I'm probably guilty of not reading the manual like I tell everybody they should. But yeah, when they put that stuff in there, it's like, what the heck is going? And I have to constantly remember that I've been flying for a while and not everybody else has. And so many people are joining all these Facebook groups and stuff that are just now getting into drones. So I have to remember that. And when I complain about something like that, I have to stop and kind of back up and go, okay, it's a good idea that they put that in there. So I applaud DJI for putting that in there. That's the first thing I disable now when I get my new drones is I disable the beginner mode.
I saw another good name. I saw jump into the chat. Wanted to give him a holler. John Coopy. That's another thing too, Tommy. If you've never checked out John's channel, he does a lot of FPV flying and stuff. Also, he'd be somebody cool for you to get with, and he might even get up that direction too. I do believe once in a while.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, he might even get up there because I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he'll mention it in the chat. But Curtis, are you in agreement that there's going to be 3 new drones? Or are you thinking there's going to just be 1? What do you think?
Okay, so I think that we were going to see a new Osmo Pocket Pro. I think, and again, Corey Jacobs and I kind of went around about this. I think that the Phantom line, because of the shell that's involved with it, it creates a resonant sound, and DJI is trying to get smaller and quieter. I think the Phantom line is done. There's really no reason to produce it anymore. The more popular drone. Okay, so yes, I think there's going to be a mix between. I think it's going to be a larger Mavic Pro that's going to accommodate the features of a Phantom 4. So I think that's what we're going to see. It'll be a slightly larger, just so that it can accommodate all those features of the Phantom 4 Pro. I don't think we'll see anything new in it other than, it's going to be a little bit better camera, a little bit better image, OcuSync 2.0, and all that fun stuff. As far as the smaller Inspire, it would make sense if you're getting rid of the Phantom line. I would say it doesn't make sense if you're keeping the Phantom line. So that would be the pivotal point for me as far as, and I've heard a smaller Inspire is needed, and I've heard this from, and I can't quote this person because they'll be really upset with me, but I have heard somebody say that's kind of what DJI needs right now is a smaller Inspire. They didn't call it the Inspire 3 or anything like that. I did hear that said by a person that is rather high up the ladder, and I didn't take too much from it at that particular time. But now that Bill's kind of saying that, and I'm thinking about it, it's a possibility if you get rid of the Phantom line. Again, my opinion, I have really nothing to go on other than just the history of DJI and the way they've kind of done things.
Well, it makes sense to me that they're going to shut down the Phantom line because, to be honest, it just takes too long to get it up in the air compared to like a Mavic 2 Pro, and you're going to get very close images that way. And like you said, it makes a lot of noise with the frame and everything, and a lot of, I think that might lead also to with a lot of the frame cracks and stuff that you see as people fly them over the years.
Well, it's the size of it that becomes the issue. If you can get so the important thing here, and we always have to remember this, is the reason we're buying these drones and we're not FPV guys is we want to put a really good camera in the air. So that becomes the very first issue. And if you're able to put a really great camera in a smaller frame that is quieter, foldable, and portable, then that's going to be the most popular drone, period. I think you could even charge more for that, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are not going to like me saying that, but I mean, this is just strictly my opinion here. But if you get a smaller drone with a better camera, that's going to be the drone that everybody wants. It's all about that camera that's in the air. Now, there's guys that like to fly, and flying is their preference of what they do. And those guys, they're going to buy a GoPro and they're going to stick it on there and go fly around and have fun flying. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for guys that are interested in taking photos and videos, it's all about that camera. And then the quietness and the portability and everything else kind of comes into play right behind that. And it's tight, it's in there, but it's always about that camera first.
Speaking of that camera, one thing that I think that they really need to look at doing is to put 360 degrees worth of movement and no stops on those gimbals when it comes to the Inspire series. That was always an issue. And then with the Inspire 2, they tried to make it to where the aircraft could unspin itself. If Unique can do it, I'm sure DJI can do it. And you know what? Yeah. Honestly, with the bigger Zenmuse series that are on the larger like S1000 and 600 and things like that, they do it. So to get that into the X5 series or X7 series and something like that, they definitely need to have a non-stopped gimbal.
I want to jump in and add one other thing right now about the Phantom 4. In the history of DJI, we have one of the most unique situations right here, right now that nobody is covering. So I'm gonna put this out there, and everybody's gonna You're going to hear every reviewer talking about this after this. Traditionally, what has happened, and when a new drone comes out, for instance, let's say you had the Phantom 3 and the Phantom 4 came out, the price dropped dramatically on the Phantom 3. So if you had a Phantom 3 and you wanted to sell it and buy a Phantom 4, your market just got killed by DJI. Well, now everything's been canceled. There are no drones. There are no price drops. If you have a Phantom 4 that you want to sell right now, you can ask almost a new price for it.
That's a great point, Curtis, because I'm sorry to interrupt, but
go for it. No.
When I was looking for my Phantom 4 Pro V 2.0, prices on that right now, they're around now without the Pro Plus version, without the built-in screen, the retail on them was $14.99. They're averaging on eBay average of $15.95 and up on there. Some of them people are getting as much as $1,800 on a $1,499 drone. So, because there's just, it's the law of supply and demand right now. But Curtis is right.
For sale.
There you go. It's because of that right now. And, I happened to luck into a great one. I mean, it was just dumb luck how I found mine. But, a lot of people, you need to be careful. And that's another thing. That's probably a whole nother show to talk about, is buying a used drone and how to buy a used drone. That's just, it's an art in and of itself. You got to ask a zillion questions. And, for me, I lucked out because the person I got mine from was about 90 minutes away. And I was able to go up, and he didn't let me take it off, but he let me power it up. I got the app up. I was able to calibrate the compass, and I saw everything look good. The camera looked good. So then I was good with that. But, it's like one of those things. You got to me, I'm not going to buy one unless from somebody out in California, unless that's brand new, sealed in the box and never been used. If it's been used, I have no idea what I'm getting. I want to be able to try that thing out, at least fire it up, take a look at the camera like I did. So,
well, Bill, let me jump in on that about used products real quick. And I know we could probably do a whole new show about that, but just for your edification and everybody else's, there's an awesome free service out there. And I don't want to sound like a commercial, and I want to do a full disclaimer right up front. I'm very good friends with Ron Sterner. He and I have been talking for years and years and years. But AirData is a fantastic free service that you can upload your flight logs to, and it will tell you the health of your drone. So if you're going to sell your drone, you can send out this information to this person and say, hey, here's my battery levels. Here's if I've had any problems with any of the ESCs, if I've had any problems in flights. You can send all this information out, and it's all verified. It's the flight logs that are in your drone, so you can't fake them or anything like that. So if you're going to buy a drone, ask the person if they have uploaded their flight logs to AirData. Again, it's free. It's a free service, and it's very, very easy to do. But you guys should, anybody in the chat room that has a DJI drone, you guys really need to go check that out. Again, full disclaimer, Iran and I are friends. We've been friends for years. He does have a business. There is a paid subscription version of it. You don't have to use the paid subscription to get all this detailed information. But every time I fly, when I'm done flying, I immediately hit the upload, and it's automatically synced. If you have the app, as soon as you sync your flights with DJI, they have the SDK. It automatically syncs with AirData. The next day you go home, you pull up the website, and there's everything you flew. There's some other cool things about it as well. It has the ability to take a KML file and download that into Google Earth, so you can see your flights in 3D. So you literally can open up Google Earth, and you'll see the flight lines of everywhere you went. And I really tested it. I went down to the Port of Tacoma, and there's an abandoned. I should have the photo here to show you guys, but I can't pull it up real quick. But there's an abandoned boat launch area that is a covered building with the roof is collapsed in it. So I flew down through the roof and then out the front, out over the water. Then I went on Google Earth, downloaded the file, and sure enough, it shows it in 3D going through the building just like I flew. So
very cool.
It's really something that if you're going to buy a drone, you really should ask the guy, hey, upload your flight logs. Even if they haven't done it, ask them, say, hey, just upload your flight logs to AirData. It's a free account, doesn't cost you anything, and share the files with me. And then you will know exactly if there's a problem with cell number 3 on battery number 2, it's going to show it. There's no way around it. So there is a safe way to purchase a used drone. Just want to share that with everybody.
The Carfax of drones.
It really is. And as far as knowledge for yourself, one of the great things that they're doing is called predictive analysis, and they're not quite there yet. Well, they're there. For the commercial customers, they're there for it, but it's going to be for everybody eventually. They're doing this thing called predictive analysis, which is, let's say, for instance, Bill will use you for an example. You take your Phantom 4 up today, you go fly, and it crashes for, we have a bad cell on battery number 2 while you were flying. And you upload your flight log, and it says, well, he crashed. So what they do is they take everybody who has the same drone, same make, same model, same time, same battery, and they compare everybody else's, and they look at wind, they look at all the information about why your drone crashed, and it turns out that it was the third cell. They're going to start sending out emails to people saying, hey, your next flight matches Bill's flight, so you need to be concerned about whatever that particular issue is that Bill had, because you're fixing to have the same problem he had. It's an algorithm. It's really, really cool. It does work. The best way that it does work is when everybody uploads their flight logs. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. You can get the subscription service and you can get some more features. But just the very basic of just uploading your flight logs helps everybody in the community, because then they're able to compare everybody's flights to everybody else's flights. So when there is a problem that comes up, you'll get notified.
This segment proudly brought to you by AirData.
Airdata.com. Again, I apologize. This is one of my pet things that I love to talk about, and I apologize for kind of derailing the conversation and doing a commercial here. But and again, full disclaimer, folks, Ron, the owner, and he and I are really good friends. And like I said, he's been doing this for years. They're just a small company, bunch of computer guys that are, I flew down to Sacramento and met with the guys and saw everything they were doing. Really, really cool stuff. So I'm going to jump out of AirData now.
No, you don't have to. I wrote it down because I was so impressed with what you were saying. I was like, I want to remember that, and my old brain might forget later. So let me put another star.
It is actually pretty cool. I use it, and it's interesting. I go and look at it all the time. It's like, I want to see what this, see where I went, what I did, and the Google Earth thing is neat.
The Google,
real quick and just give a holler out, Curtis. Can you holler at chat? It seems to enjoy it better when you call out the names.
Oh, I will definitely holler out some chats. Let me back up here just a bit. Let's see. John Capucci, 36 watching. We got 42 people watching right now. Idaho Quadcopters in the house. Drone Kings in Darwin. That's cool. Drone Effects with Claude. He's there. Wow, I can't pronounce this name. Why do I get this?
He's got his name spelled backwards.
Nivek.
Kevin's his first name. See, it's backwards.
All right. Well, you're backwards. You can do that one. Kevin's in the house.
Yeah, there you go.
Thomas O'Sullivan. Kevin Fortner's here. Let's see who else we got going. Cole Somerville. Hit that like button, folks. Drone Kings in Darwin. I already mentioned him. Let's see. Drone Pools in the house. John Capucci's here. Janet Wilson, Horse Education. She's here. Drone Obsessed Jerry, hey guys, what's going on? RD Drone Reviews, what's up, Bill?
The Bills, he's giving us both a holler. That's Ryan Duvall.
Oh yeah, Bills.
Yeah, he's coming in checking us. We got a bunch of people jumping in here. Very cool, very cool. Glad to see all you people in the house, and thank you for giving me a second to breathe, Curtis. And okay, we've been talking about the new drones and stuff. Tommy or Randy, did you all have an idea of what you thought might be new from DJI?
Man, you know what? I feel so in the dark, and the thing is that I'm usually really on top of these things, but right now, work has had me just not in so much drone mode right now. The only drone mode I'm doing is flying for work, and I'm not looking at any of the other stuff, which is kind of weird. So I'm actually learning some stuff, which is odd. Usually I'm kind of up to speed on some of this stuff, so it's a little frustrating right now.
Oh, it doesn't need to be frustrating. The whole point is this is drone.
Randy. I got a question for Randy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Randy, what kind of drones do you use at work?
So
he did use an Inspire 1.
I did a lot, and what we mainly use are the 4 Pros, and we recently switched most all of the 4 Pros out for Mavic 2 Pros.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Because
So if you think about that for a second, in the professional broadcast world, they're using Mavic 2 Pros.
well, keep in mind we're also broadcasting in 1080 because that is the standard. So everyone that buys these 4K TVs and stuff like that, enjoy your Blu-rays because that's all you're seeing. As far as broadcast goes, it is 1080. So yeah, we fly Mavic 2 Pros, and it's great. They work really well, and you know the 4 Pros are also really nice as well. We were doing Phantom 4s, and the problem with that was when we were flying at night or in twilight and things like that, we had some limitations. But when things switched over to the 1-inch sensor, it really kind of made it to where we could do some decent stuff in low light.
Very cool.
Do you have any ideas, Tommy, about what might be coming new from DJI, or are you just in agreement with everybody else?
I can only speculate, and I can speculate with the most highest of wishes for new tech, new software, new firmware, all kinds of lifted geofences and stuff like that. But no, honestly, all I can do, I have no idea if anything's coming out.
Oh, I got a good
We're
question.
launched with a lot of problems, and I'm still reading through a bunch of that. So I'm
Hey,
not
Bill.
even updating my FPV stuff.
Let me interrupt for just a second, Bill. A couple of guys were asking about, do we have a YouTube channel, and we haven't really talked about that much.
Yeah, exactly.
So first of all, I can't for some reason type in our YouTube channel there. So if you could type that in. So 3 of us here, Tommy, Randy, and myself, we have our own channel. We do a little live thing on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, and what time is it? 6 Eastern time. We're called the Drone Owners Network Live. We put on a nice little show, have a little bit of fun. We do a little bit of the news. We have some guests on. We have some really amazing guests, and that's kind of one of our big things. Is we know so many people in the industry for having been in this industry for so long. It's pretty easy for us to just call these people up and say, "Hey, we would really like to have you on the show." And we've got some really, really interesting people that you haven't thought about. That a lot of people haven't thought about coming on the show here. And in fact, this weekend, I'm just going to go ahead and tease this right now. We have the folks from WiralCam coming on the show. Now, who is WiralCam? How many people are familiar with what a cable cam is? So like a lot of times you'll see in so I'm a big football fan. I got my Seahawks shirt on. You'll notice where they put the camera right over the football players and fly it across the field. Well, that's a cable cam, and it allows you to get into places without flying a drone too. So think about this for just a second. This WiralCam is going to be able to carry your Pocket Pro. It's going to be able to carry a GoPro, and in a couple of cases, it'll actually be able to mount your Mavic Pro on it and fly your Mavic Pro around. So if you're doing, for instance, real estate photos, you'll be able to do your aerial shots and then hook up this cable cam and fly the cable cam through the house without any risk whatsoever of crashing inside the house. The footage will be from the same camera, so it'll be a lot easier to grade and a lot easier to make the footage look exactly the same. So those folks are going to be coming on this weekend. We invite everybody to come check that out. We've got some special deals that they're going to be offering as well. I can't say exactly because we have our meetings on Thursday where we kind of go over that stuff, and we haven't had that meeting just yet. But yeah, WiralCam. They just finished a GoFundMe. They got fully funded. They're in full production, and they're supposed to be shipping here pretty soon. So we'll have more details about that. We'll have some actual footage from a Mavic 2 Pro that has been mounted on the WiralCam, and there's going to be Stig is going to be in the house, and he's going to do some comparison. Everybody loves Stig and his Norwegian accent. He's got some footage where he's flown around some stuff, and then he switches between the that and the WiralCam, and it's going to be seamless footage. So something for everybody to kind of check out. It's something you haven't thought about, it's when you're doing real estate stuff. For the longest time, guys would go out and just fly around and go, here's your house. And it's like, I spend 99% of my time in the house. Yeah, I want to know what the outside looks like, and I want to know what the neighborhood is, but show me the inside of the house. Well, this is going to allow you to use the exact same camera. So another quick plug for us. But no, we're Drone Owners Network Live. You can find us on YouTube. And we invite everybody to come out and check out and hang out with us on this Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, and please, I just dropped the link for a second time. Please go over there, subscribe up, hit that bell so that you know about the notifications and what all they're working on and what all is coming up.
And also a quick programming note, we tried to simulcast this show and our show tonight, but we ran into some problems with OBS and the feed. Google Hangouts just does not want to work from a secondary source. It'll take it from the initial source, but it won't take it from the secondary source. This is not my last try, though. We're going to be doing some more testing here. We're going to make this thing work.
Yes, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. I need to work through some things. Bill and I are going to be talking about this afterwards and doing some testing quietly, and we're going to make this thing happen where we can broadcast on 2 channels at the same time.
Something else that I also wanted to bring up, go back and check out some of the Drone Owners Network live previous broadcasts. You're going to see some, because they got some serious names to drop. I've not seen any other drone shows that have brought on ex-astronauts as a guest. I've not seen the owner of Polar Pro on too many other shows. I've not seen the creator of Skylum on too many other drone shows. So they got some serious names to drop. So
and the DJI director too, Bill.
Oh yeah, Romeo's been on there too. Yep. So the thing about it is they do have the people to come on and watch.
The list of what's coming up is very, very long and getting longer almost every week. The first question, when I started talking to the guys about doing this show, and maybe I should back up and tell you how we kind of started. I mean, we know there's a ton of live shows out there, and there's guys putting out some great information. There's some great review shows and all that. But what had happened with us?
I'll get it. Hang on.
What had happened with us was Randy, myself, and a couple other guys were sitting around, and we were doing the Google Hangout, not live, but we were just doing the Google Hangout, and we were kind of comparing products, aftermarket products. And I kept thinking to myself, we need to put this on the air. And then I brought it up, said, why don't we just go do this live and talk about this stuff on the air? And we got to talking about it, and then the conversation came around, hey, we could do some news bits, and then we could also do some guests because we know so many people in this industry, so let's bring on some guests. And then I said I can do some motion graphics, and everybody's like, ooh, I don't want motion graphics. I don't like motion graphics.
Oh, stop it. Come on. Come on.
So a little inside secret for you guys. The guys that I'm working with are always telling me, dial it back, Kurt, dial it back. So there's some behind-the-scenes info for you, and which I have. Except for Tommy. Tommy loves my stuff.
Curtis made my business logo, and I love it.
Just also anybody that hasn't already done it, please check out this week's teaser. Curtis made this week's teaser, and I also put a link to Curtis's channel. He does a lot of intro stuff and everything, so go check out his work. Another quick thing I wanted to holler out about was in the mornings, if you haven't already experienced it, please go get your morning coffee with the Canadian Drone Hub. They're always on there in the mornings. Roger's always got a unique panel on talking about a little bit of everything. And they're also having a good time. And that's part of why I started drone therapy, because I discovered that drones are therapeutic. Go figure. I would have a bad day. I'd come home, fly for 20 minutes, and all my anxieties seemed to melt away. So that's kind of why we started this. And then I hooked up with Bill and Ron. We all kind of realized that we were old guys and we kind of forgot stuff. And between the three of us, we had one good brain. So we decided to call ourselves the Bucketlist Boys. So that's how we came up with this for this season. So I just wanted to set that out there for everybody.
Well, Ron just messaged and said in the chat, it says you guys are going to have Peter Frampton on.
We've got that one coming. He's supposed to be coming on our finale episode from one of the shows. But I really am grateful to have everybody in the show. We've covered a ton of stuff like we always do. Please come back and join us next week. I'm hoping we've already got him to confirm once, and I'm sorry, this is what happens at this time of day at my house. The phone seems to ring. Hopefully the wife will grab it on the second ring. Hey, there we go. And hopefully we'll get confirmation. I sent him another email. Have you heard anything back from him, Bill? Hopefully Rick will be here next week.
No, I haven't, but it's always a treat to have Rick. I've had Rick Smith on my show twice. He's one of the great people out there. Absolutely love him. Personally, he's as great as you see on camera, off camera. Just a wonderful person. We're going to be talking drones like crazy next week. It's going to be a great show.
Well, just like so, because this was. Remember, we were making the joke when he was on your show the other night. He's like, "Oh, what date is that? What date am I going to be? Sure, is it? No." And then the thing that was so crazy was like 2 days later, we heard it was canceled.
Yep.
That was what was so crazy about that whole situation. this happens again, as I said, at my house at this time every day.
Bill, I'll just tell everybody right now. I've been calling you, and I'm sorry, man. I just,
Well, thank you. I appreciate the fanfare. I knew I needed to unlist my phone. But with that being said, I really am grateful to have you guys on tonight. It was an absolute blast. I hadn't had this fun in a while. The only thing is we're missing our third wheel. I wish he was here so that he could hang out and we'd all have a blast. We'd probably stay on until dawn. But I got a wife. I'm sure everybody else has a wife, and we all need to get off and spend a little time with the family, so we might be able to buy a new drone in the future.
Well, thank you guys for having us on. We really do appreciate this. And the shout out you guys gave us in the very, very beginning was just an awesome thing for you guys to do. So we do definitely appreciate that. And we're going to return the favor. We're going to have you guys on our show. We just need to sit down and figure out a schedule and what we're going to do, change up our format just a little bit. But yeah, we definitely want to have you guys on our show. So with Ron Brown, by the way, so he can explain to me Xeno Nation and what the heck's going on here.
Curtis, Randy, and Tommy, you guys are fantastic. I've watched your show several times. Just you guys put on an A-class 1 production. I just absolutely enjoy it, and your chemistry is absolutely fantastic. You guys put on a great product. You really do. And I've been doing it for almost a couple of years, mostly solo, but it's kind of nice when I have somebody to jump in. But you guys seem to know timing, everything. I know you guys really work a production schedule and everything, and it shows. You guys really do your work, and kudos to you. And guys, if you haven't checked out Drone Owners Network Live, do it. They're on Saturdays. It's 6 p.m. Eastern time, and it's 3 p.m. Pacific times. You guys got to check them out. They just put on a great show.
Thank you, Bill.
I just wanted to let you know, Curtis, that I personally like motion graphics.
I'm good, and yes, because you were so nice about that, I'm gonna have to make something for you guys here at Coast to Coast. I just haven't figured out what just yet. I'll get with you, Bill. We'll talk. We'll come up with something for you guys.
Well, thank you again, everybody. I'm glad to have everybody here. Please, if you get a chance, hit that like button again. Please tell your friends to watch us on the replay and come and see us next week. Fingers crossed, we'll hopefully get a confirmation that we'll have Rick Smith with us next week. Peace.
Thank you.
Love.
Anybody else? Later.